Hi folks, in this tutorial I'm gonna introduce you to libraries. Contrary to the opinion of other authors of tutorials and books about Android, I think an early introduction to libraries will help you more. So the first library I recommend you to install, it's a logging library. It's made by, I don't know its name, but it's from Jiao Kai Chang. It's called Klog. And the way you install a library, you go to the gradle file, module app, and here in dependencies, you just copy paste the library. And you might wonder, well, how you know which line to pass it here? So the thing is, you go to the GitHub page of the project, and usually they tell you in the README the build number and the version of the library and where you want to copy paste. So after you copy paste here the library you want to do, you might want to do a sync of the gradle file. You see it's very fast because the library is small in size. And so here is a page for the log library. It has some features, some JSON, all kind of beautiful stuff. Even it has here a nice GIF where it shows you how to do the logging, and also it shows you how to work with the library. So we check if the library is up to date, and yes, it is up to date. And you can see here in an example it has an app, and it initializes a library here on our application. Now, what is this application? This is like a base class which extends application, and from this base class, in this base class we can initialize some libraries, do stuff to check if is the big build is the bug or release, and so on. So let's create our base application too. I like to call it base application. This one extends application, and we have to overwrite on create. And here, if we look here at the sample page, we can just copy paste it. Actually, if we look inside this init, you can see if log is shown or not. So the way we do it is we have to check here if the build is in debug mode, because like Jake Wharton said, but you don't know who's Jake Wharton. Every time you log in production, God kills a puppy. So now we have to check if the build is debugger, and I prefer to do it like this. Like this. Now this might be initialized initially with yes, with true. Okay, so we put it with false. So this is how we initialize this library, and now let's overwrite this on resume, and very easy, just like that. You can pass other parameters and you can do more stuff with it. And you see here the log was getting called. Even it shows you a quick link to go to where the log is happening, so you don't have to search it. Okay, let's move on. Let's add another great library, and you just search on GitHub Picasso. And this is a very used library for handling images and big images and dealing with memory problems, caching, and so on. How to do it? Copy paste it like you saw it, and you can add here some comments. You can add them at the beginning just to know which library does what. Okay, so after we added this library, we click sync, and let's go to the sample to see what is going on. So in the sample, actually don't look at the sample, or you can look at the sample, but you'll find it more quickly if you follow this link. For more information, please see the website, and here it tells you how to use it. So just copy paste it, let me sync it, and I'll put it on my create. Let's import it. We see we have to put it a context, and the context is main.this, and we have to load this image, which is at this URL, into our image view. But let's first add an image view. So the image view is here. Come on. Let's give it an ID. Let's get a reference to it. And let's run our application. Now our application will fail, and it will fail. Now let's say you run it and you don't know why it's failing, so we talk a little bit about debugging. Let me make this one bigger. Actually it won't fail because Picasso handles this very nicely, but let's say we want to get notified if something is wrong. So let's use these placeholders instead of just a simple code. So in case of an error or placeholder, and we can use a standard default Android ones. Okay, and let's run our application. So we have failed to load this in. Now you might not, it might not come to you, but our application is not configured to use the internet. So in order to configure it, we have to go to the manifest file and add here on top uses permission internet, and you just open a bracket, select uses permission, and I think internet permission is so used in almost all applications that it automatically completes it. It's defaulted to be to the first one. So now when we run again our application, the image gets displayed. Okay, this was one of the second very used libraries. And for our third library, I want to show you a very cool one called butter knife. So we go to the butter knife GitHub page and let's see how we add it. And this library is to, it says here, eliminate find view by IDs by using bind on fields. So basically what we need to do, don't create of our activities or fragments, we need to call butter knife.bind.this. So let's put it. Actually it's below set content. And we can bind our views like this image view, for example. Let me import it. So we eliminate this image view from here, and we have a reference to this image view, and this way of doing it results in a much cleaner code. Here it says some example to bind other stuff too, like colors or strings, but we will mostly use it for views. Now if you remember one of the previous projects where you have here a list of controls, with this library it would have resulted a much cleaner code. Now you will use this library a lot in almost every project because it really makes a cleaner code and more compact and more easier to read, means more easier to be debugged and less stress and nerves for you. Now it's time for a little homework for you, and the homework is like this. Get a large picture from somewhere and copy paste it in the drawable folder, and your job, your homework is to read the documentation of Picasso and display this picture from here into the image view. Now this is a pretty big picture and Picasso will handle everything. It's just for you to read a little bit the documentation and get used how to work with this library. This is all. Now I'm gonna show you the solution, but please try to do it first by yourself. Pause the video and try to do it by yourself. So the solution is pretty simple. Just instead of this URL, you call r.drawable. Your drawable name, and you run this code, and it will take a little bit of time, but in the end it will display it. This is all. I mean, it's really simple to use it. Some small things that I forgot: whenever you extend the application with a Blaze application, you have to register it the manifest, more exactly here under name Blaze application. So make sure you do this step, otherwise your initialization is for nothing.